board meeting.
All right.
I see we are streaming live on Facebook.
We
I will
are.
call this regular meeting of the Northridge Local School District Board of Education to order on Monday, May 17th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Or no, Pledge of Allegiance.
Yep, we have some fourth graders to lead us in the pledge today.
Perfect.
We have some fourth graders to lead us in the pledge.
For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have some fourth graders to lead us in the pledge.
For which it stands, one.
All right, I don't know if that echoed for you guys.
A little.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it does. I mean, we don't mute ourselves and it just, all the different speeds, connection speeds just work out horribly. Anyway, Mr. Lewis, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mrs. Bamerlin.
Present.
Mr. Burkholder.
Present.
Mr. Hart.
Present.
Mr. Picorni.
Present.
Mr. Schrock.
Present.
Very good. Before we get to our mission and Viking value statements, I'll just read the first paragraph at the top of our agenda regarding the way we're meeting. The meeting is being conducted by telephone conference pursuant to Ohio House Bill 404, which extends the temporary authorization originally provided by Ohio House Bill 197 to members of public bodies, including the Board of Education, to hold and attend meetings or hearings via electronic technology. The authorization is effective through the early of July 1, 2021, or the end of the COVID-19 state emergency. We'll get into what that might mean later in the meeting. All right, our mission and Viking value statements. Our mission is empowering all students to reach their fullest potential. Our Viking values are trust, leadership, communication, collaboration, accountability, integrity, and respect. We do adhere to the See Something, Say Something campaign. Item number 5, we have a couple sets of minutes from Monday, April 29th, 2021, the regular meeting, and the special on Monday, May 10th, 2021, both submitted to the board on May 14th, 2021. Are there any additions, changes, corrections? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve them?
I'll make the motion. This is Mrs. Bamerlin.
This is Rick. I'll second that.
Motion by Mrs. Bamerlin, seconded by Mr. Burkholder to approve both sets of minutes listed in item 5 of our agenda. Mr. Lewis, please call the roll.
Mr. Schrock.
Yes.
Mr. Picorni.
Yes.
Mr. Hart.
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder.
Yeah.
Mrs. Bamerlin.
Yes.
The motion to approve the minutes passes a 5-0 vote. In item 6, adoption of the agenda, I'll ask our administrators to give an overview of their consent agenda items tonight. Mr. Lewis, you'll start.
Yes. Would like to approve the monthly financial reports as approved by the Finance Committee on May 12th, and also approve the May 5-year forecast and assumptions as approved also by the Finance Committee on May 12, 2021, and those will be submitted directly after this meeting upon your approval to ODE.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Are there any questions for Mr. Lewis about what he's recommending? Very good. Mr. Schmidt?
All right, we have 2021 graduation list this evening. Approval of resignation retirement of Peggy Campbell. Draw special attention to that. Peggy has been with Northridge for significant number of years, and when she announced on Facebook that she was retiring, she got quite the outpouring from former students and families, but we wish her well. Also, I want to say a special thank you to Daniel Blevins. He has served as our digital teacher this year and has done a great job. He is actually by trade a music teacher and kind of created his own niche by providing online lessons and has just done a great job with our digital program. But as we know, we are moving away from that next year. So we wish him well in his future endeavors. We have approval of employment contracts, 1-year contracts for list of teachers there, just completing their first year. 2-year contracts extended to the following teachers. 3-year contracts extended to 3 of our teachers. Oh, sorry, 5 of our teachers. 5-year contract for Mr. Featheringgill, Mr. King, and Mr. Kirkland, and a continuing contract for Mrs. Buckenberger, our speech pathologist. Recommendation number 4 is elementary assistant principal. I'm very pleased to recommend to the board tonight Mrs. Breckville, who has served in the teacher and special assignment position this year at the primary building. Prior to that, you'll remember she's been a long time physical education teacher with us. So Mrs. Breckville has just done an excellent job this year, and I'm excited to recommend her for the elementary assistant principal position. Also, another thank you to Carrie Nur, who's actually subbed for us for the past 2 years, and we are excited to bring her on board. She's going to be working at the elementary level as our substitute coordinator, working with teachers and substitutes to get things covered in the morning, as well as dealing with attendance at the elementary building. That's a 5.75-hour position. We have some additions or shifts in administrative contracts, with Michelle McJesse serving as Director of Student Services for Gifted and English Language Learner programs beginning next year, and also with Dr. Michael serving to support social emotional wellness for expanded programming there. Recommendation number 8 is to hire a new certified teacher. Kalina Ruth will be serving as 6th grade language arts as we expand our language arts position. Excited to recommend Kalina. She's actually been with us. She started the year with us as a long-term sub for 4th grade, and then she's been a long-term sub for reading intervention at 4th and 5th grade. So we're excited to bring her on board next year. There's a lot happening this summer. I'm going to ask Dr. Michael to talk briefly about recommendation number 9 for additional hours for certified staff for professional development.
Sure. So thank you, Mr. Schmidt. As you remember, last summer, we were able to compensate our employees for some additional professional development that was around the topic of technology provided by Laura and Brian Roberts. And that was great. We were so excited to have such a huge number of teachers participate in that. This summer, in order to be ready for the extended learning plan to address COVID learning loss, we have a number of identified professional development opportunities that we'd like to offer our teachers this summer. It is targeted based on their position. So for instance, an intervention teacher might be doing something different than a science general education teacher. So we have a list of identified professional development opportunities that we are going to ask teachers to participate in and hope to compensate them for up to 30 hours per participant. And this cost will be covered by the ESSER grant and professional development funds.
Thanks.
Are there any questions about that summer opportunity?
And similar to when 2 years ago, again, we had opportunity for staff to participate, and so we're excited to roll that out and give them that opportunity.
Is this a voluntary? Oh, this is Chris. Is this a voluntary program?
Yes, this will be voluntary for the teachers who choose to participate.
And the training will be on site?
Some of the training will be online and some will be on site.
Recommendation number 10 is approval of tech support. This is typical of the past summers of bringing on additional tech support. Laura Roberts in number 10 and number 11. This is contracted services for technology, not only during the summer, but during the school year as well for Sam Lewis and Jonathan Ransom Flint. Approving summer tutoring. And again, this has the opportunity to look a little bit different this year. Dr. Michael, if you want to touch on that.
Sure. So with the summer tutoring, one of the things that we were tasked with the extended learning plan to meet the requirements from ODE was that we provide some additional supports for our most struggling students. So working with Mrs. McJesse, she and I have been working to identify students with disabilities that could benefit from additional one-on-one or small group support over the summer, as well as our English language learners. In addition to those, students that have scored in the at-risk category for Tier 3 or have shown a decrease in their growth overall this year are going to also be offered some small group online intervention this summer. Those will be provided by our teachers and monitored by Mrs. McJesse and myself. We wish that we could do it in person this summer, but due to the constraints of construction and renovation, we are having a very hard time identifying enough spaces. And so we were able to determine that we actually will be able to serve more students by doing it virtually. We're fortunate that our students have access to their Chromebooks as well as those hotspots if they need them, and we will continue to provide those supports. For our 9th through 12th graders, it's going to look a little bit different. Students who have either failed a course first semester or second semester are going to be provided with the opportunity to do credit recovery online, but we're going to provide 1 or 2 hours of support each week for the subject to make sure that if they have questions, provide some tutoring, and also just to provide some monitoring and encouragement to get those credits made up so that they'll be ready to go for the fall.
Thanks, Dr. Michael. Last 2 recommendations under the consent agenda is additional hours for the school psychologists for completing up to 10 evaluations. At this point, we have 4 for sure that we know that she will be completing. Recommendation number 14 is for a field trip for the high school choir and band to head to the Hartford Fairgrounds on May 28th for the Memorial Day celebration.
Very good.
And then
I have a question on recommendation 13.
yes.
Is that for IEP purposes?
Yeah, so these are required. Yeah, so these are required evaluations, many of them through the Head Start for preschool students that are identified, but this will also cover us if there are any special ed students whose evaluations were not completed this year due to our transitions in school.
Right. Yep, and I think that's a good use of funds instead of waiting for the school year. So.
And then on your agenda that you received earlier, there was Ohio High School membership. I had a request to move that to a separate item, so I've done that. So those are the consent agenda items.
Very good. Are there any other questions for Mr. Schmidt? Hearing none.
Not at this time.
Is there any need to modify our agenda tonight? And hearing no reason, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Picorni, I will, Mr. Picorni, I'll vote to recommend approval.
Motion by Colonel Corney to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
Mrs. Bamerlin will second that.
Motion by Colonel Corney, seconded by Mr. Barron to approve the agenda. Mr. Lewis, please call the roll.
Mr. Schrock,
Yes.
Mr. Picorni,
Yes.
Mr. Hart,
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder,
Yes.
Mrs. Bamerlin.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. The agenda is approved. Just as I'm getting used to not doing a voice vote on that, we're going to get back and I'm going to be able to start doing that again. Oh, well, we'll see. So we have scheduled visitors tonight. and the Northridge Education Association, and Robin Elliott is on our call. Mr. Schmidt, is there any further introduction?
I don't think so. Welcome, Mrs. Elliott.
Well, thank you very much. I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank the board. We just conducted negotiations a few weeks ago, and I have actually not done negotiations since we did the win-win style. And the feeling of this set of negotiations was very much similar to that win-win style. So I just wanted to take a minute to say thank you for the participation, and thank you to Mr. Hart, who was our representative from the board, and a special thank you for putting those steps back in. That has been something that the teachers have been asking for quite a long time. And so the fact that the board did that in addition to an increase on the base, I just wanted to publicly say thank you very much. The teachers are very, very appreciative.
All right.
Elliot, thank you so much for coming to the meeting tonight and sharing that. I have to say that negotiations were just so impressive in terms of the way they went with both sides, the way we limited the number of topics to cut out, I mean, let's face it, the laundry list that we always have, it doesn't make any sense. So it really worked so well. I'm so glad that both teams were able to do that. I got to give a shout out to the facility. I know your side appreciated it as well. We conducted it up at the at CTEC's administrative offices, and we were treated to lunches prepared for the culinary program. And even though they were limited as to what they could do, lunches were great. We were on site. It went without a hitch. And thanks to Robin's team for not stealing our brownies or cookies. That was really, so easily could have went the other way. No, seriously, it just all around, it was a great negotiation.
I agree. Thank you very, very much. And like I said, I just wanted to come on publicly to speak for the teachers to say thank you.
The steps we recognized for a while, and I'm glad we were finally able to come together on that. Frankly, we didn't realize, Mrs. Elliott, that we thought that there were only 2 original steps that had been skipped. It predated our personal knowledge that there was a third, and then that came up after the negotiations, and we just when it was brought to my attention, and I mean there was never any thought that we should do anything but include that, even though we didn't really recognize that was what we were doing. We thought it was important to get that behind us. So.
Well, again, we are very appreciative.
Very good.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Elliott.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Next up is Modern Learning Facility Update, and we have Clay Keith tonight.
Clay, you there?
Okay.
Are you able to be there, Clay?
Can you hear me?
We can.
Oh, great. Scott, if you want to go ahead and pull the report up.
Yes.
Hopefully I've got positive news this month.
Before we get started there, Clay, can you tell everybody what you're doing right now?
I'm actually sitting in the parking lot watching warm-ups for my son's lacrosse game that's getting ready to start the playoffs.
Yeah, tournament game.
So we're okay, though. We got it
All
together, I hope. Scott, if you could go to page 6, I think it gives a pretty good picture of where we're at currently.
see if yep, page 6. Is this what you wanted?
Yep.
Maybe I
You
pulled up the
have
wrong
draft
May.
version.
I was going to say,
Well,
for crying out loud,
all
that
right.
doesn't look like
I
we
was
even
like,
started.
wait a
Hey, good news is that the foundations are all done.
That's a good
right.
one.
Well,
Great news that the foundations
while
are.
he,
Foundations are done. I pulled up
Okay.
May of 2020. Let me get
Oh,
to
wow.
May of
Oh,
21.
Oh, that's a
so
good
while
one.
he's pulling that up, the picture I wanted to go to is the floor plan for the entire building. You will notice that the areas that we are considering in punch list is actually a majority of the building outside of the student dining and the corridors. And when I say punch list, that is a Robertson punch list where we are going through and starting to check each room individually for either incomplete work, work that has to be repaired, or work that is still in progress, so that we have a good list and basis to start from to complete everything within each classroom. The areas in red are mainly for flooring, and we are working on the flooring in most of the corridors in the student dining. Some have completed, they're in progress, but moving along well. I know when I got to walk the building with Scott, he was somewhat mesmerized because he saw it going down.
That was kind. I was distracted by the floor and very relieved as well.
Yeah, we could not keep him focused. But wood doors are going in, and I will say in general, technology throughout the building is still in progress, and that will be over the next few weeks to a month of trying to get that all wrapped up and tied up together. But in general, for the classrooms and the educational spaces, I would say that they are close to 90–95% complete. If we want to move on to the pictures. And the first picture is another facade picture of area B, or I'm sorry, the front entry of the building. This is actually looking from the bus loop towards the gymnasium. Curbs are in for, I think, 90%. Sidewalks, I will say, we're struggling with our concrete contractor to get the sidewalks completed, but we are on them, and I know they were on site last week and supposed to be on site this week until they finish. So hopefully you'll see all the new sidewalks going in. The next one is actually the exit of the bus loop. And then to the left of that, you'll see the drive that will become the new parent drop-off drive. And to the right of that is the teacher and staff parking lot. The next one is the Area B facade. We've got the metal panels complete, masonry complete, windows complete. They are still working on the coping for the roof, but get the finish grading and start, hopefully in the next few weeks, you'll start seeing some seed go in around the building. Kind of circling back to the main parking lot that we did last summer fall. We did add a mid-rail to the fence, which I think is a good addition. It's going to give it a little bit more support, and it looks a little bit more substantial for separation. Over at the water treatment building, we've got the fencing up and the screening for the mechanical yard. Next step over there will be moving the generator from the high school over to the water treatment building as soon as school is out. Moving inside of the building, a view in the student dining. This is actually looking at where the playground and courtyard will be located. So this is the back side of the student dining that leads over to area B. And those pallets there are the flooring that should have started today. I can't verify that though.
It did. The green stripes were
Great.
going down today.
Great. Speaking of technology, security, and access control, a view in the front vestibule of the camera. And then looking at the main entry for the building as you walk in. The next one is one of the extended learning areas. That it is not complete, but a partial view of what the wood ceiling panels that are going in. This area is designated and separated from the corridors at each end of the corridor. It kind of has a diagonal takeoff from the corridor where the lights are placed diagonal and the wood paneling goes in to give a complete separation to kind of designate that as a separate space. The next one is one of the flex rooms. And as you can see, the carpet, casework, ceiling, and paint are complete, at least to a punch list phase. Then in the admin, one of the corridors, the main and only corridor running through the admin area, this is looking from the receptionist desk back towards the offices. Then the picture on the right is one of our favorite topics. We've been working through some of the electric and phone inconsistencies in the building. And we've got those two contractors working together to make sure that we get this right. But it shows the fire and horn strobe with a clock. And then down at the bottom, you've got data, lighting, and a thermostat. The next picture is the sound reinforcement or enhancement system for each classroom. It's got the microphones, the lapels, and the remotes. Area B2 mechanical room, complete. Systems are running. We're going through testing and commissioning of those right now. And then one of the MDF rooms, the technology rooms in area A with the racks, getting equipment set and getting all the final tie-ins back to the high school and to the water treatment building. And then we've got some of the classrooms. Here's a finished classroom in B1. And actually another one, it looks like one of the maybe science classrooms in B1.
Yeah, this first room was intervention specialist classroom, and this is a regular classroom.
And then we've got the admin workroom with the casework for the mail slots. Wood doors are going in. I believe we've got area A and area C should be complete with wood doors. They'll be working on area B1 and 2 to get 100% of the doors in. We still have to get the light transoms put in place. Gymnasium floor is down, bleachers are in, athletic equipment is installed, and doors are up. And then here is the corridor being prepped for flooring in area C. And then the new new flooring in area C.
All right, that's the end of our pictures.
I know, I can't talk anymore. It's
right.
moving along well. There's some challenges with some subs, as we always have, but we're working through them, like the concrete subcontractor, and working through the technology right now. Ben and Steve are doing a good job in getting this incomplete or punch complete and documented so that we can get those items completed and then turn it over to the district and Dennis for his punch list. So that'll be the next step.
And I wanted to thank you, Clay, and rest your team for making the building available Friday. We were able to take a tour of some rooms, and here's a few more pictures of rooms with all the great sunlight coming in. And I love note in all three of these pictures, there's no lights on in the classroom. They're so bright with just the natural sunlight, but wax is going down on floors and things are looking great. And the teachers were quite excited to get a glimpse as to the building. So thank you for making that available Friday afternoon for us.
You're more than welcome. I heard it went well, or it seemed to go well.
Yes, it went very well.
Good, good.
Mrs. Hamilton was ready to rescind her resignation. So, all right, thank you. Any other questions for Clay from the board?
Just love to see the progress, Clay. And, Scott pulled up that year-old report, but how far we've come, huh? In a year.
Yeah, we're right on the edge. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone.
We will.
What, you're going somewhere?
Hey, we got more projects. Don't leave yet.
Maybe just a week or two.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Clay.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Hart, I don't have any staff comments or visitor comments this evening.
Very good. Mr. Lewis, I presume you don't either?
No, I do not.
Okay. Then we'll move on to our discussion items. Mr. Lewis?
Hey, Scott, I didn't ask you this before, and I don't want to put you on the spot. Are you able to pull up that 5-year forecast I sent you?
Yes.
I sent the finance committee.
Yep. I was in
And
the
I
process
apologize
of
for
that.
not asking you to have that ready.
No, it's good. I had it and then yeah, give me just a second.
All right. So, board members, the finance committee spent the bulk of the time on the 5-year forecast, which they approved, and it's up for your approval today. And as soon as Scott's able to pull that up, we'll go over a couple of items of key note. And Scott, I'd like to take them down to just like line 7020. It's really where I live, down in the cash balance. And I think what you want to look at as a board is always, where are we with cash? Because that's, at the end of the day, you know, the word cash is king is always important to me when we're looking at things. So what we look at is, where were we in October? Well, we weren't in as good a position in cash coming out of the October forecast as we are coming out of the May forecast. And the driver in that is the reappraisal that kicked in, and the fact that when we do budgeting here, I don't add that until it's actually in effect. And so one of the reasons that's very helpful when we're budgeting looking forward is I'm not spending the money before we have it. I'm not counting it before it's actually happening. So I don't project it. I wait till it's actually real. And that's why you'll see a little better view from this May than we did in October. So I think that, one of the things that I also look at in this same view is line 6010, which is right above, and that is looking at, okay, where are we going to be with our real budget? So as I look back, and if you look back at 2018, 19, and 20 we were up 428,532 to the plus, then 677,438. When you look at what happened in 20 with the negative 127,928, I'll remind you that the governor decided to cut our school by $300,000 that year in June after we had spent our money and gave us no time to adjust. And they also cut us again this year, $300,000, but we had already committed our budget going into this year. So we're just a hair under that $300,000 loss at 265, 631. So I think it's really important to know that that the state of Ohio has caused our negative balance, not our budgeting process. And I think we can stick with our budgeting process moving forward and hope that governors in the future don't decide to take a situation and make a decision to cut schools. So, and looking at that moving forward, then we're back into the positive. And this budget, and we use this 5-year forecast as a budget. This budget is inclusive of the negotiated agreement adjustments. So I want that to be very clear. So it shows that we are in good shape with those adjustments. We may need to make some adjustments looking out 2 years from now, and that is what we try to do in this district, and it's not easy to do, is we try to keep our expenses to our revenues, and that's very difficult to do over time. So, but the good news coming out of this is that we're in a good cash position. It's not looking like we will need an operating levy in this next 5 years based on this forecast. But if you could go down a little bit, Scott, I think there's a place right here at the 90, right there. Thank you. At the 9030, that's the budget, 60-day budget reserve. And one of the goals of all governmental agencies is to have a 60-day reserve. And we do, thanks to the Finance Committee and this board. We have a 60-day reserve that we have reflected in our 5-year forecast, which is highly unusual, but very sought after. So very pleased that we're in that position. And what that really means is this is our red flag. This is the one that says, hey, you got to do something. And right now, it's not telling us we need to do anything at this moment. And if you could go down, Scott, down to the bottom here, right here, at 11020, that's the renewal of the emergency property tax that we would need to be looking at in probably year 2023, no later than 2024, to have it in effect to be able to collect in 2025. So this is the emergency renewal that we passed this last time, and we would need to continue to do that. And so what happens is that it's taken out of the revenues at the top and added back in here at the bottom to allow you to see what would happen when you pass that levy, and what would happen if you don't pass the levy. So you would go from being in a negative position to being in a positive position in year 2025, and that would carry out into the next few years following that. So those are the highlights of this. We do spend a lot of time in Finance Committee going through line by line, but I think the highlights are we're in a good cash position. We doesn't look like we're going to need operating monies in the near future, and that, along with our permanent improvements and the new buildings and the remodel of the high school, middle school, puts us in a good place moving forward. And that's what I have to say about the 5-year forecast.
Do you have anything else you wanted to say about the Finance Committee on your, or otherwise in your treasurer discussion items?
No, we are planning on, yes, we are planning on a June 16 meeting And on June 16, we will be going over the increment decrement list in detail. And we will be taking we're going to be taking a tour. We haven't asked Clay yet to help set that up, but we'd like to be taking a tour. And I just invited the facilities committee to join that. So they'll be taking a tour and getting a chance to see the increment decrement list roll out. So the facilities and finance committee combined on June 16.
Very good. Are there any questions for Mr. Lewis about his discussion item? All right, let's move on to the building department reports.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep the building report short because we have a video coming up that I want to share with you. So you received the full report, and you actually received it this time, but thank you to our PTO at the elementary level, as well as help at the middle school and high school for Teacher Appreciation Week. That was good celebration all the way around. We have wrapped up testing and makeups are complete. So that is a plus. Working on transitions for next year. So this year's fifth graders will get a chance to go over and visit the middle school and get a chance to start to learn about middle school. We had an excellent turnout for the CTEC signing day, which took place on May 5th. And actually a story ran on NBC4 that highlighted a couple of our students and everyone at CTEC for signing day. The high school staff, as well as the middle school staff, are still working towards a block schedule for next year, and they've partnered with Center Grove High School in Greenwood, Indiana, who've been on the block schedule for the past 25 years as a piece from that standpoint. College Credit Plus fact, we had a senior who graduated from Columbus State Community College, India Alor, with her associate's degree 2 weeks prior to her high school graduation. So she's been working really hard the last few semesters and great accomplishment from her standpoint. We've had some collegiate signings for athletics as well. Blake Crow will be going to Mount Vernon Nazarene for bowling, Ross Teeter to Lake Erie College for golf, and Logan Olm for baseball. And I apologize, I forget where he's going. We had Olivia Ashbrook and Tara Otterbein. Thank you, Jama. Logan's going to Otterbein. Olivia Ashbrook is Ohio Northern for track and cross country. Tara Brevier at Ohio Northern for track, and Nick Howe, Indiana Wesleyan for cross country. So quite a bit there. We are going to be kind of having a re-signing event for some of those students so that we can have more participants that kind of came up quick, and now with some of the release or relaxed COVID restrictions, we hope to have a greater celebration and bring those kids back in for kind of a re-signing and celebration with their families and friends. And special education, we had a great turnout for preschool, like pre-screening, and we are almost full with our peer models. Also, they had their first licensing inspection and they passed with no complications. So congratulations to our preschool team. Technology has been extremely busy working through everything with the new building, as well as getting things ready for main campus as well. And in addition to the summer construction at the middle school and high school offices. So those are some brief highlights from the building and department reports. And again, you have that full report available to you as well.
Thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Are there any questions for Mr. Schmidt about that? In that case, Mr. Schmidt, we'll move on to your discussion items.
Perfect. I said I was going to try to be brief with that report, but there's just too many good things to share.
Oh, I thought that was
so discussion items. First one up tonight is reading tutor program. And then I have some updates for you about the athletic program feedback, as well as COVID operations. And so Aubrey Cardwell is our instructional coach here at the intermediate and middle school. And she put together a video along with Mr. Roberts' help about the reading tutoring program. If you remember, Dr. Michael had shared about this program when we kicked it off a while ago, and now this is sort of the culminating video. So I'll share this with you. Hmm.
Hi, my name is Aubrey Cardwell. I am the instructional coach for grades 4 through 6 at Northridge Local Schools. One of our challenges we faced when we started this year was figuring out how to support our readers in grades 4 and 5. Due to COVID restrictions, we had to get creative. Dr. Michael suggested we look into the Reading Fellows program, which was launching a reading tutoring program. We attended a 3-part training that focused on involving community members in one-on-one reading tutoring. This program has community members tutor students in 3 areas: fluency using poetry, reading comprehension, and word study. Mrs. Beaver helped get the word out to the community, and we had 2 amazing community members agree to tutor virtually. Mr. Greiger then recruited high school students. These wonderful students agreed to tutor on their days off during the hybrid schedule. Now that we are all in school 5 days a week, high school students are coming over to the intermediate during their study halls to tutor. We have had 11 high school students and 2 community members who have helped over 15 intermediate students weekly throughout the year. When we got our iReady results back in the winter, we found that all of our students in the tutoring program had grown from the fall, the average being 29 points, while some grew as high as 58 points. As you can see, here is a student who grew 42 points. Here, you can see a student who exceeded their typical growth from fall to winter by growing 30 points. Although many factors contribute to students' growth, we were thrilled to see students making progress with their one-on-one tutors. Sharon Clayton was one of our beloved tutors this year. Sharon has been a substitute in the district for many years, but due to the pandemic, chose not to this year. She loved the opportunity to still work with students virtually. When asked how the reading program helps students, Ms. Clayton stated that the one-on-one connections were great and she could see not only her students' reading skills grow, but also their confidence. In the next video, you will see Sharon working with one of our students virtually and the connection they made over reading.
Uh-oh. We said that uh-oh at the same time, didn't we? What's the problem? We found the problem now. What's the problem, Bella?
That they may get rid of him, and also her mom said no dogs allowed, and she was like, it's been kind of a weird day. She's like, what is a dog doing in my bathroom?
Right.
She got mad.
So on page 11, we see the first problem. That gentleman, do you know who that gentleman is at the door?
Yes.
Who is it? He's asking for what?
He's asking.
She thinks he's there to ask for some what?
For money.
Yes, very good, Bella. It doesn't actually say that, but we know that's what he means. It says, she goes, oh, I only need another day or 2 to get the rent. She means.
Freshman Addison Moore is another one of our tutors who agreed to tutor virtually on her days off and now in person during her free time. The video you are about to watch shows the great conversations that took place between tutors and their students.
Why would you think that the poet would do that?
Probably to make it sound better because, like, she really wants to play drums and her dad thinks that drums are only for boys. So then maybe to, like, tell you that she really wants to play those drums.
Yeah, she was trying to get her idea across, saying that girls deserve to play drums, which girls deserve to do anything guys can do.
In this final tutoring video, you will see another high school tutor, Hannah, working with a 4th grade student and the enjoyment they get out of reading together.
Sharks can see better than humans.
Oh, that's kind of scary.
Oh, it is. sharks take a test bite of prey before eating.
Mm-hmm.
Their taste buds tell them if the prey is fat enough to eat.
Yeah.
That's very creepy.
Why would they need to eat prey that's fat enough?
Because they're really, really big and they need a lot of food.
Yeah, there you go. Got it.
That's a sand tiger shark.
Yep.
Did I seriously get it right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
The teeth on that are kind of creepy.
I would, if I had that in my dreams, I would go get my mom.
Not only has this program been beneficial to our intermediate students, but also our high school students. High schooler Olivia Howard states, high school students working with younger students is beneficial because they look up to us and it builds a connection as they grow and we learn as well how to better our instruction and social skills. Mrs. Kelly Charles, one of our fourth grade language arts teachers, also sees the benefits in having her students participate in the reading tutoring program. I loved how the tutors made such great personal connections with the students. The students loved being able to meet with someone other than their classroom teachers, and it made reading more fun. And now, some words from Mr. Greiger on our tutoring program.
I'd like to say thank you to Mrs. Cardwell for setting this opportunity up for not only the younger students, but also our high school students who have benefited from this program. It's just been a great experience for our students here at Northridge. And we look forward to continuing opportunities like this for both high school students and younger students. We're even exploring the opportunity of having a cross-age tutoring class next year at the high school. Again, that would benefit students of all ages.
I hope everyone sees value in this program like I have. This has been so rewarding for not only our intermediate students, but also our high schoolers and community members. Thank you so much to our high school students and community members for your countless hours of volunteering. Also, thank you so much for watching this short video, and thank you to Dr. Michael, Mr. Schmidt, Mrs. Beaver, and Mr. Greiger for making this program possible. Finally, thank you to Brian Roberts for all of his help in producing this video.
So thank you to Aubrey Caldwell for putting that together and helping support that program this year. Dr. Michael, anything to add, or I should say any questions from the board?
Nope, I don't have anything to add. I was really happy with the product that Aubrey and Brian created, kind of capturing all the different points of views. It was, I just thought, really heartwarming.
Perfect.
I
Any questions from the board?
Tremendous, but I mean, the program is just exciting, that the way it stimulates the kids and gets them excited about reading. And each of those high school students that participated, they really help those kids. They obviously get a lot out of them themselves too. They start to understand reading better. If they're going to be teachers, they're going to be better teachers because of this experience. It just works out great all the way around.
Agreed. It's awesome. I was so impressed. Put a smile on my face. Thank you.
But I mean, just great that it appears all of our administrators were united in this front. You know, you, Dr. Michael, and you, Mr. Schmidt, and both of our principals, and working with teaching staff. And I mean, it's just tremendous.
We're excited to see it grow next year, especially when we can have more volunteers in the building from a community standpoint.
Oh my gosh. And what happens when they can actually go one-on-one next to each other?
Yes.
Looking at the same book.
Exactly. So thank you, Dr. Michael and Mrs. Cardwell as well. The other thing, I just wanted to update the board. We sent a survey out to the community. As you know, we're searching for our next athletic director. And as we're working through different things and looking at, we have around 50% of our high school students are involved in athletics. So this is a key position. And we know that we're not going to be able to make everyone happy all the time, but we do I believe very strongly in getting feedback and input so we can make the best possible decision. So we're in the process of gathering feedback. A survey went out to all high school and middle school students, so anyone could participate. And we've had good participation so far. Not all that data has been analyzed, but we will be using that as we search and conduct interviews for our next athletic director. Sorry, I should say, any questions on that? And again, I'll keep the board updated as we continue our search. All right, then the last thing from me, discussion items, is COVID operations and continued face mask order. As has become kind of commonplace during press releases, the governor will talk about things, sometimes foreshadowing or sometimes, quite frankly speaking, out of turn maybe. He got a lot of hopes up about the face mask mandate ending, but then this weekend we received communication directly from him that they would be excluding schools from those eased restrictions. And so the face mask order and other COVID protocols are still in place for the remainder of this school year for us. So even though we finish school on June 2nd, that will still be under the current orders. One of the things that did lift is capacity for outdoor events. And so we were fortunate, we'll talk about this later as well, but with graduation being at the Hartford Fairgrounds, we had enough space, but thankful that will not be something we have to closely monitor as far as capacity limitations at outdoor events. But we have this week and last week seen some students getting ill, which has caused students to be quarantined. So, we are not out of the woods, but it's been a long road. And I just want to thank our students, our staff, and our families for understanding the procedures that we've had in place and making it through the year. We've got 10 days left, and I'm looking forward to next year.
Mr. Schmidt, before our next board meeting, the school year is going to end.
Yes.
There will be ongoing activities at the school. I don't know where we are with regard to face masks after the technical end of this school year and as we move into summer.
Yeah, so I received some communication from the health director late this afternoon, and we're going to be meeting later to talk through this. Early analysis and thoughts moving forward is that we would communicate with families that summer activities at school would, after June 2nd, would be face mask optional. That way families are well aware that anything their students would participate in, face masks would be optional this summer from that standpoint. So I believe that's the direction that the health department is going to be recommending that we go in. And I know that's what the other Licking County districts are looking at as well.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and the thought process is, in case you receive questions from parents, with only 2 weeks to go, and knowing that there are still, people on both sides of the issue, as far as feeling that they're only comfortable if their child, is with a face mask and other students are on a face mask. It just makes sense for the next 2 weeks, which is why the governor didn't lift the order for all of us to remain in face masks, so that everyone can finish the school without that added anxiety. We'll work through things during the summer and be able to fully communicate in advance of next school year what the plan is, which I would anticipate no face masks at the beginning of next school year.
Well, I'm glad to hear that there's some basis for the governor's apparent inconsistency, but the practicality is that if he's going to maintain an order, and this will be a good segue into a board discussion item that I want to lead. If he's going to have an exception to his the order is otherwise lifted, but not for schools at least for the remainder of the school year, then we don't have a choice for the remainder of the school year. We can't just say, well, we're not going to follow what is essentially the law and say no masks are required, even though the governor wants to maintain them, and even though the CDC may say vaccinated people don't need them. And I think that is, I saw the guidance from the governor. I think there is some validity to the notion that children, well, especially 12 and under children, there is no vaccine for 12 and under children. And the vaccine was only recently made available for the kids that are able to get it, 12 and up. So if vaccines are the line, then I understand why schools might be a little different.
Yes.
So any other questions for Mr. Schmidt on the COVID operations and continued face mask work? Then for the board discussion item, what that leads into is, and I kind of foreshadowed this when I opened the meeting, talking about the board we have at the top of the agenda about how we're able to conduct meetings remotely. It says that our permission to hold virtual meetings expires at the end of the COVID-19 emergency. I don't know if that emergency will be ongoing as of our next meeting date in June. Have you heard anything about how that might be, Mr. Schmidt?
I have not to this point. I would expect some updated guidance, but have not received anything yet. And the health order did just, the written health order did just come out this afternoon. So.
Okay, the new order?
Yeah, my understanding that I haven't actually put eyes on it yet, but according to Licking County Health Department Director, he had seen the order and sent it to us, but it was right before the meeting started, so I haven't looked at it yet.
Well, it's very nice that came out just a week after the time, basically a week after the speech.
Yes, it's very helpful.
Yeah. Boy, let's not get the cart too far ahead of the horse. Anyway, so I don't know how the board feels about a June meeting, an in-person meeting. Certainly, it could be done. I don't know what's happening with capacity restrictions in terms of, one of the reasons that we've been doing this virtually is we rapidly hit the 10 people that you're allowed to have in a space for generally, well, unless you have one of the special exceptions like you're selling food. I guess we could have had hot dogs or something at board meetings, but hadn't thought of that until just now. But we probably are in a position where we could have an in-person meeting. How do people feel about that?
You know, I'm all for it.
This is Chris McCorney. I concur.
Jeff?
Well, I didn't quite catch exactly what you were asking.
How we might feel about an in-person meeting for our June meeting. In other words, having a meeting like we always used to, and presumably starting in July, we'll have no choice.
I just soon stick with what we're doing right at the moment just until we get more guidance on all this. If we're not going to really have anybody there, we might as well. Besides, you're going to be getting into the vacations and so forth, so it may be a little bit tougher to get people there to a meeting anyway.
Jay, any thoughts?
I'm all for sticking with or deciding what happens after we have more information from the state and the health department.
I'm fine with resuming in-person meeting. it can be done without unduly burdening the staff. And one of the considerations, in addition to just the disease, is the sanitation practices that would be necessary. And we already have, we've already got extraordinary efforts being made. And I was reluctant to try to add to the staff's burden, having to prepare and then clean another space. It might not seem like a lot, but every little extra thing matters. And I've thought not burdening them during this time is helpful. And now I know we've got a lot of stuff we want to do during the summer. So I can see that going both ways on whether we meet in person.
Construction, yeah.
But I mean, if there is, if the emergency is considered to be ended,
right,
at any time prior to our next meeting, then there's no choice but to meet in person. But if there's some reluctance on the part of the board, I'm happy to either go with a hybrid method of meeting or continue the online method. I guess I have to see if we could do it the audio way with some people meeting in person and comply, but we can look into that. So I guess, Mr. Schmidt, what we probably ought to be doing is figuring out what the options are and continue to study it for the next week or two.
Yes, we will do that, and I'll be in contact with you so we can determine our next steps.
Very good.
Mr.
I would
Hart,
like to make
just
one
so you-
statement. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to add the finance committee has been meeting with a hybrid approach for the last for quite some time.
Right. It can be done technologically. My concern is because unlike the finance committee, we have state laws that you have to comply with. And so my concern is, we have we do the we do the audio telephone conference method because you can't be confident that all board members are going to be visible at all times for the entire meeting because of the differing technology levels across our extremely rural district and different levels of rural, I guess I should say. So we have some areas that are more remote than others. If we hold an in-person combination technological virtual meeting, I don't know off the top of my head whether our telephone conference connection would be enough to satisfy, because we have presumably other board members present in person. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
If two or three of us can see each other live in a meeting, but then couldn't see the other two, and those they might be able to see us on the screen. I just don't know how that works out under the law. And that is an actual statute that was passed by the General Assembly and signed by the governor. So we probably need to see how that works out too. As I understand, everybody has their own situations. Nobody signed up for anything with a pandemic in mind. And so we just need to, like we do with at the greatest extent we can with school and kids, we need to accommodate different needs.
What I was going to just bring up and maybe it's more of a discussion possibly for next month, but I would like our school board to consider continuing to broadcast on Facebook and the website, because I have noticed that since the pandemic, the one thing that has really increased is individuals that have been able to attend board meetings from in the community by listening. And I think it would be great to ensure that we keep that going. It provides us that transparency and allowing the district the community members in our district to know what's going on. So I would like to continue that.
Toward that possibility, I know I think it was one of our, maybe our agenda meeting before for the April meeting. I believe I raised the possibility that we might be able to use some of the ESSER funds to improve the technology that would enable us to broadcast a better meeting. I used the Jersey Township use of their pandemic funds as an example, where they purchased special, that's called an OWL technology that takes multiple pictures in a 360 way, so that the entire room is visible, and then the camera hones in on whoever the speaker is, and it can actually pick up 2 or 3 speakers, I think it is. And clearly the microphones in our meeting room need to be improved. At the same time, I know this might be somewhat blasphemous to some, shocking, but it's possible that we could maybe get some kind of a recording device and we didn't have to use that battery operated recorder. Just, I know it's wild.
Seriously?
Wild thought, but
How are we going to survive without this battery operated recorder? I'm game for that one.
just throwing it out there.
That thing's so old it probably has Homer High School stenciled on the back somewhere.
Oh, I'm just thinking, while we're upgrading, maybe we could go a little further. But yeah, I fully support JAMA, the transparency and the opportunity really for greater community involvement and awareness of what goes on in that community. I think the more people see and can see firsthand what we do and how we do it, the better I think they might appreciate how the schools run. And also, to the extent they notice something that we could be doing better, I mean, the more ideas, the better.
Right.
Absolutely. All right, so I'll work with Mr. Lewis and Mr. Cruzy, Mr. Roberts, and see what we can accomplish as far as moving that agenda forward.
And we talked about maybe finding space in the trailers where we could have a more permanent setup too.
Yeah, that would be nice.
So that we don't, I mean, the media room is great and all that, but it's not intended to be a board meeting room. If it was, there'd be a sign above the door that says board meeting room, not media room. So
exactly.
Definitely it could be the setup could be better, and not talking about breaking the bank here, but I mean, it also could be space that could be used for other meetings.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
So,
okay.
All right.
We'll
Any
do some
other board discussion items tonight?
Yeah, I have one, Mr. Hart.
Colonel?
My thoughts are we recognize Teacher of the Quarter and all that. I'm thinking perhaps it's time to institute a classified contract employee and to include our bus drivers as well, to be recognized once a quarter for outstanding performance. I'm talking the cooks, the janitors, the bus drivers, other personnel outside teaching positions that do a great job, work very hard, and many for decades. And most of them live here in the community, graduated from here as well, from Northridge. So I think I would like to see perhaps we do something about it. And I invite comment from other board members, from Mr. Lewis and from Mr. Schmidt, if they would like to opine.
Well, this is Britt. I 100% agree. I think that there was a time that we were trying to accomplish that, and that if you remember, the next thing we knew, there was everybody was just, whose turn was it? But it never really hit with the classifieds at all. And so I'm absolutely 100% behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll work on, I think that's a good suggestion.
And I would recommend. I mean, you can recognize the supervisor, I would guess, but I think this recognition should be primarily our worker staff or our second level supervisors, perhaps, would be the ones that this recognition would be primarily intended for.
Great suggestion.
I like it. Anybody else?
I agree. Great idea.
Look forward to hearing more about it. We've got a lot of people that do a lot of good things.
Absolutely.
And, maybe it may be tough to figure out which one, but one's a lot better than none.
And I would say if there's a deserving member, even members of our construction crew that maybe have gone above and beyond. I'm not talking to Mike Milton, Mendenhalls, but one of the worker bees maybe can be recognized as well. Just throwing that out.
Good thought, Colonel. Very good thought. Great. Is there anything else? Any other discussion items anyone to bring forward? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I have one additional comment before we approve it.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I would also like to echo Mr. Schmidt's comments on the retirement of Mrs. Campbell. She was
Colonel, I'm going to interrupt. I'm going to put that out of order. Let's make that as part of the discussion of the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, then I'll make the recommendation, or I'll make it.
You'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda?
Correct.
Is there a second?
This is Rick. I'll second that.
Motion by Colonel Picorni, seconded by Mr. Burkholder to approve the consent agenda. Discussion and now, Colonel.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to echo the superintendent's comments on the retirement. She did a good work with on Peggy Campbell with my son as a teacher, and I think I speak for the whole board and wish her nothing but the best. She's been with us for quite a long time, so that's basically it. Also, just a note. I do have a working relationship with and recommendation 8 with Miss Ruth. I worked with her during Freedom School. I was not in a supervisory role, nor was she over me, but she was in charge of one of the sites that I was testing the students. And I think I can vote on it, but I just want to disclose that information. And I think she'd be a personal opinion. I think she'd be an excellent based on her work experience at Northridge. So, thank you.
Thanks, Colonel. I don't think there's any conflict there. And thanks for the kind words about Mrs. Campbell. I know that the board, you do speak for the board with those comments. And
I do have a question on Mrs. Brechtel. Does she have her license now for principal?
She will. She will this summer. And so this is contingent on that license.
Okay, thank you.
It's always exciting to approve the graduation list. I'm always happy to see that on there. How
many are graduating, Mr. Schmidt?
Oh, I don't have that note in front of me. I believe we're at. Oh, sorry, I don't know. I'll get that for you.
Excellent. If you could send it out to all of us, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Probably in that May 14th packet, but no need to dig through, find it.
Yeah, I'll grab it for you guys.
Perfect.
And it's obvious to me in listening to Dr. Michael discuss the items that she talked about, that she's had more than a little involvement in the planning for all that. And I appreciate the efforts that had to have gone on behind the scenes there, Dr. Michael. Thank you for your diligence in digging in.
Thank you. The high school is a great team.
It is. It is. If there's no further discussion of the consent agenda, Mr. Lewis, please call the roll.
Mr. Schrock,
Yes.
Mr. Picorni,
Yes.
Mr. Hart,
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder,
Yes.
Mrs. Bamerlin.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Consent agenda is approved. Now, recommendation number 15. That was pulled at my suggestion. I just noticed that we have this elongated resolution, and usually when we have those need to be approved separately, and so that was why I suggested it.
Yeah. So we pulled that out. So it's still numbered the same. Recommendation 15, authorization to join Ohio High School Athletic Association for the 21-22 school year for both the middle school program as well as the high school program.
Yeah, I certainly didn't pull it because I considered it to be controversial or
right. Yeah, just a separate standalone.
Perfunctory, but I thought it needed to have its own motion. So,
Mr. Hart, I believe it is required. We have always had it set off before. I believe it does have to have a separate vote on it.
It struck me
I'm
as
not
something.
positive.
So is there a motion to approve it?
I'll make it, Picorni.
I'll second it.
Motion by Colonel Picorni, seconded by Mrs. Bamerlin to approve recommendation number 15, the Ohio High School Athletic Association resolution. Is there any discussion?
Just a disclosure, I am a member of OHSAA as a certified soccer referee. I do not do any Northridge home games, nor could I legally be paid for them, but I don't believe it's a conflict of interest. That's just wanted to disclose that.
Thank you for putting it out there. I see no conflict. Obviously, this is a fairly standard thing. There's no reason not to join this organization. So if there's no further discussion and hearing none, Mr. Lewis, please call the roll.
Mr. Schrock,
Yes.
Mr. Picorni,
Yes.
Mr. Hart,
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder,
Yes.
Mrs. Bamerlin.
Yes.
And the motion is approved 5-0. We are going to join the Ohio High School Athletic Association again.
Thank you
And
for
we
that.
have-
And our student athletes, thank you.
Excuse me?
I said thank you for that, and our student athletes, thank you.
Sure. Well, let me know when there's a choice.
Okay.
Alternative. I'll look hard. For consideration items, Mr. Schmidt.
Recommendation number 16, very happy to recommend on behalf of Dr. Michael, Mr. Lewis, Mr. Hart, and myself, the approval of the negotiated agreement. I know that the board's been fully briefed, but I believe this is really good for Northridge, positions us, honors the hard work that our teachers have been doing, and positions us to maintain a quality staff.
There are no questions from Mr. Schmidt. Is there a motion to approve the recommendation 16, the negotiated agreement?
I'll make it, Picorni.
I'll second. This is Mrs. Bamerlin.
Motion by Colonel Picorni, seconded by Mrs. Bamerlin to approve the negotiated agreement. Discussion. As I indicated earlier in Mrs. Elliott's comments. It was just a good negotiation this time. I thought both sides listened well to each other. Mrs. Elliott expressed the gratitude that the teachers have for us being able to both provide an increase in the base, and also to restore those steps that the teachers gave up willingly so many years ago now, and at a time when it was critical to the school. So I'm glad we're able to restore those when we pass this agreement. And but the other academic items that are included in the getting OTEs up and how smooth that went, and the understanding that our teachers have, and I don't think it's that way everywhere. But they understood why it was necessary to do all that, and didn't nobody tried to do anything more than what was needed. It just went very well. So any further discussion?
Mr. Hart, just on behalf of the other members of the board, I want to thank you for being the board lead on this important project, as well as Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Lewis, and the other members of the negotiating team. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. There's no further discussion. Mr. Lewis, please call the roll.
Mr. Schrock? Mr. Schrock?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. McCorney?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Mrs. Bamerlin?
Yes.
And motion passes 5-0. The negotiated agreement is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Recommendation number 17, just as important as our negotiated agreement with the teachers, supporting our classified staff. They keep this district running, and we'd all fall apart without them. So I'd like to recommend the salary schedules as presented by Mr. Lewis tonight for the classified salary in line with the teacher's contract.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Schmidt about this one? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve recommendation 17, this classified schedule?
I'd make this. Thank you.
I'll second.
Motion by Mrs. Bamerlin, seconded by Colonel McCorney. We're switching that up. To approve recommendation number 17. Discussion. I think Mr. Schmidt captured it very well. How important our classified staff and deserving they are of increases, on par with what we did with teachers.
And I would also like to associate myself with your comments. These are they are long-serving folks, as I said earlier. Many have been with us many years. Many are graduates. Many of the kids went through. Many volunteer for coaching, coaches, other type activities, musical. They're a good group of people, very hardworking, and I always find it very, very pleasurable to talk to them, and over the years since I've been on the board. So that's all I have to say.
They do such critical work. They're tremendous.
Doug,
in many districts, they're often underappreciated in some districts, and I've been to a few where I've seen that, but including ours a long time ago, frankly. But I think that's improved, so which is a good development.
Well said.
Doug, this is Britt. I'd like to say two things, or maybe three, but the first one is, it occurred to me today on LinkedIn, I got a notification that Jayma Bamerlin has served 10 years as a board member. And I want to congratulate her on that. But it also, think about 9 years ago when I came in here, we aligned ourselves to the to balancing the budget and to a needs-based budget. Zero-based budgeting is what it is. And that's what allowed us to do what we're doing today. And the commitment of this board, I have to thank you all for buying into that 9 years ago and sticking with it. And that's the payoff we have today to be able to say yes to these, to both the negotiated agreement for the certified and the classified today. So thank you all.
Britt, this is Mr. Picorni. I remember quite well when your little broom closet of an office, you and me were sitting in there crunching numbers when you first got in. And when you were the interim treasurer and I was just appointed to fill out the remainder of the term. Funny how that worked out. But anyway, thank you for your efforts as well in making that happen, as well as the efforts of the Finance Committee, who've provided critical oversight on our budgetary activities and provided some very good suggestions, such as the budget reserve that we have, for example.
Well said. The Finance Committee has been very, very big part of this.
Well, I got to tell you, if this is the 10-year anniversary of JAMA being on the board, that means that it's been just over 10 years since Colonel Picorni, JAMA, Jeff, and I all met at a Finance Committee meeting.
That's right.
Gosh, isn't that crazy?
It is.
But Jeff was there representing the board at that first Finance Committee meeting that I attended, and I know JAMA then was, I think, secretary, and Colonel, I think it was your first meeting as it was mine. So how far things have gone there too? Crazy.
Yeah, I almost got voted on the month I was going to be voted on the Finance Committee. I got appointed to the board instead. I said, I'll be back in a couple months.
You, Jane, was going to make somebody quit at her very first meeting.
No, that was more than the first meeting, but yeah, it was a crazy time.
Maybe it was June. Anyway, we've got a little.
It was July, because I was appointed in August.
Okay, well, there you go. Sorry to take us astray from our agenda, but nostalgia. If there's no further discussion of this motion, Mr. Lewis, please call the roll.
Mr. Schrock.
Yes.
Mr. Picorni.
Yes.
Mr. Hart.
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder.
Yes.
Mrs. Bamerlin.
Yes.
And the motion passes 5-0. The classified salary schedule has been approved. Number 18.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I say number 18, Mr. Schmidt?
Yes. So number 18 is approved gas pipeline easement. Whenever we do anything dealing with land, we always put that as a separate item for the board. There is currently a 25-foot easement that Columbia Gas has. When they were out relocating the pipeline during the construction process, they are now just slightly outside of that 25-foot range. So they would like to do a new easement that is 30 foot from the center line of the road. So that's what is presented before you.
Sounds pretty clear. Is there a motion to approve recommendation 18?
I'll make it, Corey.
I'll second that. This is Rick.
That's by Colonel Picorni, seconded by Mr. Burkholder to approve recommendation 18, the gas pipeline easement. Discussion? I'd say it sounds pretty straightforward. Glad they're paying attention to that. It's important. Please call the roll.
Mr. Schrock.
Yes.
Mr. Picorni.
Yes.
Mr. Hart.
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder.
Yes.
Mrs. Bamerlin.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. We have approved our gas pipeline easement.
Recommendation number 19. This is sort of a once in a lifetime opportunity. We're opening a new building and establishing a library for our students is critical. I want to thank Dr. Michael on two accounts. She's been working very hard on this project of making sure that our startup collection meets the needs of our students, but she's also been working in tandem with our community libraries, because we utilize those quite a bit now and plan to continue to utilize them in the future in a variety of ways, expanding student programming. But one thing I want the board to be aware of is even if the Alexandria collection rate decreases some because our primary students aren't walking over there to check out books, that does not directly affect their funding. So we felt good when Dr. Michael was able to clarify that and work with the library. So we're still in great standing with our local libraries. We're going to continue to build partnerships, but what an awesome opportunity to have a brand new collection for our students in the library. And as you know, we're currently looking for a librarian, so it'd be great for her to have some books to work with as well.
Are there any questions for Mr. Schmidt? Hearing none. Is there a motion to approve recommendation number 19, the library?
I'll make it supporting.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I will second it.
Motion by Colonel Forney, seconded by Mrs. Bamerlin to approve recommendation 19, the purchase of library books for the new elementary building. 180,000 sounds like a small number, sounds like a big number.
Yeah.
And
what
I just want to, in our public record, I'm not negative at all on the idea. I understand the need for books, but in 2021, with the move to so much online, how do we determine, just a quick overview, the need for books?
Dr. Michael, do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we've been working with a team of teachers at Northridge as well as the Follett team to make sure that we identify books that support the curriculum at the different grade levels as well as author studies. We continue to have online resources available for students, but especially at the younger ages, there's a lot of research that shows that students really prefer to learn from and read those hard books versus the online books. I think as we move into the older grades, they're much more comfortable with those online books. So I think that working with the constraints of time and budget, Follett was able to help us identify what are the most highly regarded titles from elementary schools across the country and helped put together a list that then teachers from the elementary school helped me go through and look for certain things that they wanted to make sure were identified in our collection.
Very well done. I'm a dead tree book guy myself. I mean, I'm at the library all the time. I don't buy them. I go to the library, I order them. I love it. I understand. I mean, I don't know why the kids ever leave them, but I understand maybe they do when they get into high school, but maybe because people make fun of them when they have a real book instead of their computer. But anyway, I'm all for it. Is there any further discussion of the motion? Hearing nothing. Mr. Lewis, please call the roll.
Mr. Schrock.
Yes.
Mr. McCorney.
Yes.
Mr. Hart.
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder.
Yes.
Mrs. Bamerlin.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. We will have books in our library. Number 20, Mr. Schmidt.
All right, saddle in for this one, everyone. So we've got two different change order groups tonight, and Mr. Lewis and I have been feeling the pace at which things are moving. And so I know early on our goal was to avoid change orders as much as possible and do as much pre-planning. Part of the design build process, as things are happening, we see things in real time and realize that there are pieces that got missed on the drawing and whatnot. I know Mr. Mendenhall couldn't be here tonight, but we are not out of line and actually under the average, which was our goal. I know we're over your goal, Mr. Hart, of having no change orders. But with that said, these are tweaks and things that we noticed through the process. So we had always talked about having side volleyball games, or the 2 volleyball courts on the gym floor. It was not on the original drawing when it went to the painter to be laid out and to be marked on the gym. So that was caught, and side volleyball game lines added to the gym floor. There was, in walking around the building, we realized on the back side of the building in area C, there was no outside speaker in case of an emergency or announcements. So if students were or teachers were out in the back of the building, there was not a speaker in that area. So there was a need to add an outdoor speaker there. The data drop for the desk in the clinic, the data drop was not by the desk. And so we needed to add an additional drop for data drop for the clinic. Again, in walking the perimeter of the building and being on site, there were 2 areas that we had some blind spots with the cameras. It made sense why the building was open and easy to make some adjustments, to ask about adding these 2 additional outdoor cameras, making some shifts so we had full 360 coverage. It was also discovered that emergency power from the generator was not run to the main technology closet. So you'll see that change order from that standpoint. And then loose furnishings, the furniture allowance, which was originally going to be overseen by Robertson, they agreed to allow us to pull that out. That was about $525,000 that was earmarked for that, plus bonding cost and overhead piece. So we were able to see $551,000 return on that. And thank you to our awesome furniture team, Mrs. Beaver and group. We kind of took that piece on. So those are those pieces. Mr. Mendenhall has been out, reviewed all these, and is in agreement with all of these.
Thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Are there any questions for Mr. Schmidt about any of these change orders? Is there a motion?
There's no question. Real quick, Doug, I'm sorry. Real quick, just so we understand that 551,870 is a credit to the to the budget, but it's still an expense that we paid out of PI on the other side. So it was just so we know that that's out of one pot into another pot. That's all. I just want to make sure you understand that.
Mr. Lewis, we approved that expense
right
months ago, right?
Yeah.
Right. Correct.
Maybe February, maybe January.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe February for a March 1st order of the furniture. So we knew this credit was coming.
Correct.
We talked about it in January, and we approved it in February. I remember now. Yeah.
Yes.
So if there are no questions for Mr. Schmidt about any of these items, is there a motion to approve recommendation 20, this list of change orders?
I'd like to make it.
Thank you, Mrs. Bammerlin.
I'll second. Corny.
Motion by Mrs. Bammerlin, second by Colonel Corny to approve recommendation 20, the list of construction change orders. Discussion.
I'd like to just say that I believe that these change orders, I'm actually kind of surprised it's not more, and wouldn't be surprised if there's some more things that would come up. I mean, you're at the final stages, and this is just little things that every project, any construction project's going to have. And I consider you guys have done a great job considering there's only a few little items. So nicely done. It's exciting to come into the home stretch of this project.
But I know when well said, Mr. Allen. I know, Mr. Schmidt, when you were talking about my goal being 0, I mean, that's not exactly where I was coming from, but I know I did challenge our core team early on and quite a few times as we had our early meetings and we're putting the plans together of my goal to minimize the change orders, thinking that the better job we did up front, the fewer there would be. I never contemplated that we'd be able to get by without any.
Yes.
And in fact, I don't know that Mr. Keith is still on the call. No, he isn't. But I think Mr. Keith assured us that we wouldn't, that wasn't possible. But
He did, yes.
but I applaud the you and Mr. Lewis, Mr. Mendenhall, Mr. Cruzy for getting out there and noticing these things while it can still be done in some reasonable manner. I mean, if that speaker had been discovered later, that would be a hard thing to do without, you know, starting to make the building look bad. But finding it now, I got to assume it's the same's true of, you know, a data drop and getting those cameras in now. That just makes total sense. So well done.
Thank you, and to the team as well. So thanks.
Is there any further discussion of the motion? Hearing none. Mr. Lewis, please call the roll.
Mr. Schrock,
Yes.
Mr. Picorni,
Yes.
Mr. Hart,
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder,
Yes.
Mrs. Bamerlin.
Yes.
And the motion passes 5-0. The construction change orders are approved. And now, Mr. Schmidt, this marathon's about over. Number 21.
Yes, recommendation number 21. The reason I separated these out is because typically when we have change orders for the board, we provide you an update, and they've also been all vetted by Mike Mendenhall before we bring them to the board. While Mike has been involved in these and been on site actually several times working through these things, we just received pricing today, and so he has not reviewed them and doesn't have his stamp of approval that the costs are in line. So this recommendation is written to approve the following site improvement change orders once reviewed and recommended by Mendenhall and Associates at a price not to exceed. So these are current prices that we were given today. And I'll work through those for your understanding. In each of the classrooms, we have a corner shelf, and right now there are 2 shelves or we have a corner bookcase, and there are 2 shelves on those bookcases. There's actually room for 3, and so it's just a better use of space to add a 3rd shelf. And I'd prefer that we have that from the casework company rather than creating it ourselves. At the high school and middle school, you'll remember that we are renovating the offices, changing the flow of the doors. There were some initial changes needed with fire rated doors and the way those doors will operate. So we've had to reorder some hardware, or we'd like to reorder some hardware. And then over the past year, we've actually changed some of the way we use the building with the new parking lot out front, as well as high school students using some different doors. We would like to add some additional outside door access controls that 2 years ago we had sort of not indicated a need for. This is critical from a timing standpoint because the fire rated doors and the operational hardware are anywhere from 8 to 10 weeks out. So that's why we'd like to move on this quickly tonight, and why I'm presenting to the board before Mr. Mendenhall has done the final review. I'll keep going unless there's questions. If we'll save questions for the end, I guess. The modified bus loop and sidewalk and adding a split rail fence for student safety at the elementary. On the one side of the bus loop, there was to be a sidewalk. The way that grading finished, it was a steep slope. So we're going to shorten that sidewalk and actually add a fence to keep students away from the parent pickup drop-off traffic. So that fence will be the same as the wood split rail fence that we have elsewhere on the property. And then there was an error there wasn't a sidewalk on the mirror side, on the opposite side of the bus loop. And so we need to extend the sidewalk on the other side of the bus loop for students to be able to get to the buses. We have talked right from the very beginning that we want the floors to shine, giving that nice clean look. And while the manufacturer only calls for 3 coats, Dave typically puts 5 coats on our floors because he finds that they last throughout the whole year that way. So it saves us having to do that work mid-year. So adding 2 additional coats of wax. There was quite a bit of discussion on this, and we did reach clarification that the manufacturer, as well as the specification for the wax, called for a minimum of 3 coats, and we are increasing that to 5. There's one section of the wall along Stairway B that, because of adjustments that were made to the height of the building when the slab was poured, that step area got very close to the outside wall. And so for longevity purposes, we'd like to, instead of having that as painted drywall, we would like to cover that in a piece of laminate so it will last longer and look great for a long period of time. As we were finalizing the toilet compartments, the dividers between toilets, and fine-tuning those plans, it was discovered that typically, especially in elementary or in school, there's an overhead connection between all of those compartments to help bring more rigidity to them, and that was not in the initial plan. Mr. Liggett felt that it was important from his experience that we stiffen up those toilet compartments with overhead bracing. And the last piece is kind of the way we started this project with stabilization of the grounds. If you remember, we had some ground issues when we were building the building pad. We are now finishing the elementary parking lot and the driveway out to Northridge Road, and found some unsuitable soils. It's estimated to cost $94,000 to fix that stabilization area and get a good driveway and parking lot in place.
Thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Are there any questions about any of these different change order?
I do have one. The stabilization of the driveway, you know how that driveway has always had potholes? It's been notorious.
Yes.
Is that possibly the reason? Is because it was on unstable ground?
Yes. So we found, they found when they stripped off the they stripped off the asphalt in the base, you would expect to find subgrade compacted material underneath the base, and they actually found soil, which means that the soil wasn't properly removed and things compacted before that driveway was built. So we've stabilized that and also put in drainage along the entire edge. So that area underneath there should stay dry, and we should avoid the potholes and soft spots that we've dealt with.
Jamie, I think the layman's answer to that is it was not done properly the first time.
Got
Just
it.
saying.
Okay.
Just saying. They threw gravel down over top of topsoil, and they came back and put blacktop over top of that, and that's why it was never. Yeah. That's why we couldn't maintain it.
Is that done about the time the high school was built?
Yes, same time. Same time, same crew.
Imagine if they didn't do something quite the way you should do it.
That's what I'm saying.
The gift that just keeps on giving.
And on that note, I do have to say, like, and we said this back when we spent significant amount of money on the on the soil and stabilization before, but I applaud this board's effort. It's not easy to spend $94,000 on dirt and stabilization, but it is critical for the job to be done right.
Well,
I appreciate that you're doing it right.
Let's saddle future iterations of this school with a bad road. My gosh.
I just think of all of the years of everybody talking about the holes and the potholes, and it makes, at least I know moving forward, we're laying down a driveway that's going to be able to be sustained by the buses and all of the driving that everybody does on it. So that that's good to know. And good to know that the reason why it was happening for so many years.
I remember it wasn't that long ago. I'm leaving a softball game or baseball game and driving out that back driveway and have to swerve to avoid a pothole.
Yeah.
I remember getting on the phone, calling Brett, and I think I left him a message, and he got back to me, and it was like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll get that fixed. No more of that, I hope.
I would believe not at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Schmidt about what he's recommending? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve it? Number 21.
I'll make it to 20.
Is there a second?
I'll second that. This is Rick.
Motion by Colonel Corney, seconded by Mr. Burkholder to approve recommendation 21, another list of change orders. Discussion.
Will this
don't
be
know
coming? How
Go
are
ahead,
you?
Jim.
How are these items all being funded?
I was just getting ready to say that, Jama. Thank you. It's all well within the budget, and there's some contingency funds that may be used. One of the things that I wanted to share tonight is that Clay Keith and Scott and I will be getting together to be sure that we have the funds in the right buckets before we close out the fiscal year, so we don't have to do any after-year transfers. And there'll still be obviously things paid in the new fiscal year, but making sure we have everything aligned properly and aligned with the OFCC $1 million match. So we'll be working on that this week and early next week to get that wrapped up. But for all the things that you just approved, they're well within the budget. Yes.
And there will be some items that may fall into the design build errors and omissions contingency fund. There will be some that fall into the owner requested contingency fund. But one thing to remember at this point, we do have money in those contingency funds still, which is great to have at this point. And then the other thing is the way the contract is written is anything that's not spent in the design build, errors and omissions contingency, as well as our contingency, both come back to the district. So at this end of the project, we won't necessarily have to be splitting hairs over which pot it comes out of, because but any leftover in each pot will come back to the district.
Correct. At the end of the day, it's our money, one side or the other. It's just which pot is it coming out of to complete the project.
Okay.
And I also want to commend Mr. Schmidt and Mr. Lewis. The last walkthrough I did, I know several of these items were pointed out to me as things that were going to be coming. Now I know it's one thing to identify a need. It's another thing to go through all the steps that need to be done in order to get it to where we have these numbers. And I appreciate the heads up on as many of these as was possible. Obviously, the one that came up today, I didn't know anything about, but that's also understandable. So thank you.
Scott, I got one question for Scott. Did we identify to the board the cost of that elementary parking lot driveway stabilization? Did we give them a not to?
Yep.
Was that?
Sorry, it is on. Sorry, I think I shared that when I was talking out loud. It's on the updated on the screen.
I see that now.
94,282.
I'm sorry, it's not on mine. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not on your paper version.
Right.
Yeah, I was following along on my separate one that was sent out by Donna this afternoon. And then when I looked over the screen, I saw that it was on the one on the screen.
Yeah.
I appreciate
yeah,
that. Thank you
for that. The overhead toilet compartment bracing at $5,880 is not on your paper.
No, it's not. So I need
and
to
then
add
the elementary parking lot, it's listed, but we didn't have a price at the time that it was sent out. So that's $94,282.
Thank you for pointing that out. That wasn't on mine, and I need to get that on here for the minutes. So Thank you.
Very good. So if there's no further discussion of this motion, Mr. Lewis, please call the roll.
Mr. Schrock,
Yes.
Mr. Caporni,
Yes.
Mr. Hart,
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder,
Yes.
Mrs. Bamerlin.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. We approve this set of construction change orders as well.
Thank you very much.
Next item, 13, board recommendation, I believe is just a carryover placeholder that we didn't have anything for this this May. In a past May, we must have had it.
Yes.
In item 14, business initiated by members of the board. Does anybody have any new business they want to bring forward?
This is Mr. Picorni. I do want to report one thing and give out some thanks. I want to thank our grounds and facilities for the maintenance of the soccer field. For the first time in recent memory, they actually planted some grass. I had comments from several of our coaches at Northridge Middle School. It's a rec league program, and from other opposing coaches at how good the field was. I heard from some kids and coaches said that was the best grass field that they had played on. I've never heard that about Northridge. Britt, you may remember you were filling in as a referee for me a couple seasons back, and I twisted many an ankle running up and down the field with the kids I was coaching. So I want to commend Mr. George and our janitorial staff for keeping it lined and maintained throughout the season. I bought a case of spray paint. I didn't have to paint once. So I appreciate I guess Keith's the one that mainly keeps it up. But I want to thank everybody. Also, the parking situation last season was somewhat challenging. They put the cones up. Nobody parked, behind the scoop loaders, so that was good. They were pretty clearly marked, and we didn't have any problems. So again, thank you to all who were involved in it.
I appreciate that, Chris. The grounds, Keith Stout takes care of all of our fields, and Dave Liggett was instrumental in getting the split seating done this year, and also some maintenance on both that and the main field over in the stadium.
Very good.
This is Jama. I would like to maybe make a note that I believe next month we should start thinking about doing our reviews for both Brett and Scott. June's upon us.
Yep. I'm glad you brought that up in the meeting. I've had a conversation with them outside of a meeting, but yes, that it's going to be time to hear from them regarding the things that happened during the year, and for us to put together our reviews.
Man, that was fast.
I know.
Yeah, seems like we just did it. Oh, I have one other thing I'd like to point out, Mr. Hurt.
Go ahead, Kurt.
I'd like to congratulate fellow board member Jama Bamerlin on the graduation. I believe it's graduation of your son coming up very shortly. I believe his name was on the list there. Am I correct?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, and my youngest just graduated from Kent State University, and I'm happy to say everybody got to walk. So at Kent State at least, and it didn't rain, unlike Ohio State. So it was a great ceremony, and congratulations to your son on a personal basis. I remember him in middle school soccer. He's a fine young man, and you should be very proud of both your sons. So congratulations to him
Thank
from
you very
Chris
much.
McCormick. You bet.
I am a very proud mama. You're right.
Both of you, that's tremendous news on your son, Chris. All right. There's no further new business from board members. Back to the announcement segment.
I thought I would just help us out. I added an announcement for the board about graduation, Sunday, May 30th, 2 p.m. at the Hartford Fairgrounds Grandstand. If for some reason we have a weather weather delay, weather's not looking great. We will delay that based on the weather forecast up until the latest starting time of 6:30. If we have to, we'll postpone it till Monday. So all the board members are invited, and I haven't heard from anyone that's not going to be there. And Mr. Hart, we haven't talked about your speech yet, but I'm hoping you will be able to deliver a short speech to the graduates as well.
I'll be happy to say a few words.
That'll be the first one we've had since I gave it a long time ago. One other thing, just a notification. If you do move it to Monday, I have a conflict in the morning, and so does the band. They're also involved in the Hartford Village Memorial Day ceremony, just to give you a heads up at 10 a.m.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
And I'm running it, so I guess I got to be there. So
And we won't be going to the high school conference room, so.
No, I'll get you details as to where we will be meeting. As a board, I know where the students are meeting. I'm just not sure where we're meeting.
There's plenty of time.
The other announcement, if I may, we have a farewell walk to remember open house for Alexandria Primary Thursday night from 6 to 7:30. We've been publicizing this. Lauren Oswald, PTO, Mrs. Beaver have been working really hard to make this a special evening, invite community back to the building. The museum in Alexandria will also be open that evening. And we look forward to hearing some stories about how this building has served the community so well over time. I'll also help remind the community at that time of what our campaign promise was, that we would allocate funds to tear the building down so we didn't leave a vacant building in the community, but that the board was open to the viable solutions for maintaining the building. At this point, there's been a community committee, exhausting opportunities, and nothing has come to the forefront yet. But the clock hasn't stopped ticking yet. But I do think it's important to remind the community of that, and so we'll have some information for them as well that evening. Just a printed information, just a reminder of our campaign promises.
Also, I'd like to remind everybody on the board, I know I sound like a nag on this, but we cannot publicly discuss any disposition of the Alexandria School until we formally close it by board vote, and that's probably not going to happen till late summer or early fall.
Right, there won't be any formal discussions of it, but we can still talk about these plans. The general plan.
Yeah.
A one-way conversation. We can't make any promises.
We can certainly talk to interested parties about their interest.
Yes, correct. Yeah, if there's an interested party that approaches you can entertain the conversation. Obviously, just as in any case, a board only acts as a board when you're in a board meeting. As an individual member, you can't make any promises.
Just refer it on to Mr. Schmidt. Are there any other announcements? Hearing none, then we'll reaffirm the time and place of our next board meeting. And we have a regular meeting scheduled for Monday, June 21st, 2021. At 6:30 p.m. as we discussed in our board discussion items. That the manner of that meeting is up in the air right now. It says virtual online in the agenda, but that could change depending on the state emergency and other considerations that we discussed. In item 17, our next committee meetings, we have an academic meeting coming up on Wednesday, May 26th, 6:30. That'll be a virtual online meeting. There's a finance meeting on Wednesday, June 16th, 2021, that I believe Mr. Lewis, you said that will be a combined facilities committee meeting as well?
That's correct. And I'd also like to put on the, on your radar that we'll have to do a year-end meeting for closing the books and reopening, probably somewhere the 28th or 29th, which would be a Monday or Tuesday.
Very good. That may or may not be an online. That may have
Right.
as well. We'll see.
Correct.
You just have to determine all that.
Right.
And so that finance committee meeting, it sounds like that's going to be primarily in person since there's going to be a tour.
Correct. That will be in person.
So, very good. Well, we completed our public agenda tonight. I am aware of no reason that we need to go into executive session. Is anyone else aware of any reason?
No.
Hearing none. A motion to adjourn would be in order.
This is Jeff. I'll make the motion. We adjourn.
And this is Chris Picorni. I will second that motion.
Motion by Mr. Schock to adjourn the meeting, seconded by Colonel Picorni. One last time, Mr. Lewis, please call the roll.
Mr. Schrock.
Yes.
Mr. Picorni.
Yes.
Mr. Hart.
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder.
Yes.
Mrs. Bamerlin.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn passes 5-0. We are adjourned at 8:48 p.m.